We're going to show you exactly what it takes to take a 225 bench and climb up and get to 315. And we're going to start right now. Okay, so we have had nearly 100 different high school kids bench over 300 pounds. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to literally break down every single step of the way. Get out your freaking notebook. Get out your pen. We're going to have a step-by-step process. We're going to walk you through everything. We're going to show you the exact amount of reps that you need. We're going to show you how you can set up a week. We're going to show you how you can predict when or approximately when you're going to do this. And we're going to even show you on specific days what that will look like. The big factor that I want to start off with, again, writing down in your notebook. This is not just going to be something that gets spoon-fed directly into your brain and there's a microchip through Neuralink that now you are capable of understanding this. Write this down. Stop talking trash in the comment section and actually put forth some effort to think through how you can bench 315 because we want those 3 plates on each side. So the first step that we like to do when we have an athlete that comes into the gym, we like to think about a lot of the high school kids that will come in. We'll walk through and we'll say, okay, what sport are they playing? So when we identify what sport they play, now we can understand what do they have to focus on. So let's say we have a football player or a wrestler or a shot putter. Now we're looking at this and we identify and we use this as sport depths. That's our methodology, the sport depth methodology. Okay, so we can look at, let's say, sport depth 1, and that would be like a shot putter. Sport depth 2, that would be like a D lineman. Sport depth 3, that would be a wrestler. Okay, so each sport depth, we have 5 of them, would have a specific type of sport associated with them. And then we're looking at that those sports are differentiated based off of how much strength you need, how much endurance you might need. So if you're looking at a shot putter, they just need to be really, really, really freaking strong. Look at a football player, they need a little bit more speed, a little bit more endurance. Okay, so now that's how we break these things down. Then we take that and we run our athletes through tests. So we have assessments. When we go through assessments, now this is where we start to factor in if we have an athlete, right? We're looking at 6 main metrics for sports. So for, let's say, a shot putter, we might be looking at a thrower that needs to, we're going to test their bench. We're going to test their clean. We're going to test their vert. We're going to test their back squat. We're going to test their power clean, whatever it might be. Those are the main lifts right there. Okay. When we test them, now we can see where they're at. The next point is that we have assessments. That's the test. And then that feeds into our next part of our system, which is called the levels portion. So during the levels portion, okay, now we can look at this and say, okay, this athlete, let's say as an example, benches 135. They're a level 1. This athlete benches 315. They're likely a level 2. So we have little ladders that we can look at. And then what we have done over the history of Garage Strength is that since 2008, now we have all of this accumulation of data for 20 years of training. And we can look at this and say, okay, from level 1 to level 2, it has taken this many reps to move up the spectrum to get to that level 2, to get to level 3, to get to level 4. Okay. And that's the fortunate part here is that inside of our strength training gym here at Garage Strength, we have Olympians training alongside 5th and 6th graders. We have collegiate All-Americans training alongside of high school state champions. So we have every single level from a shot putter to a wrestler to a football player to soccer players to softball players to basketball players, that we have all of this information, and it enables us to look at things from this perspective and say, okay, an athlete comes in, we identify their sport depth, then we're looking at the level of where they're at, and we're looking at the level where they're at by doing these specific assessments. And then when we do these assessments, we can do this planning based off of the planning and based off of previous athletes. This is how many reps it's going to take for them to get to level 2, level 3, level 4, whatever it might be. Now, we have 2 things that we're going to look at here. Okay, so this is going to be the roadmap, and what you're going to see, and you're going to see this on screen right now, is that we look at lifts, let's say the bench press, okay, and we believe that typically the rep rate of improvement would be, or the rep rate that we want to work towards, just the rep rate. Okay, so the rate that we want to do on a weekly basis is going to be around 60 reps per week. So if we're looking at the bench, we want to try to have flat bench, incline bench, dumbbell incline bench, those things, those lifts. It should add up to 60 reps per week. Okay, that's a guideline that we use. Okay, so now, and you can see here, we do this with squats, we do this with cleans. Now, when we look at planning out a week, okay, so this is where we're looking at in a sample week. We might have day 1 is, clean, then we have squat, then we have accessories. Day 2 is clean or a snatch or a jerk, then we have bench, and we might have like bench and pull-ups, right? And so this is where you would see 25 reps here. And then we go through our impulse day and then hypertrophy day, which might be like sprints. And then we get into more bench, and that's 30 reps. And so you're looking at 30 to 25, 55 to 60 reps on a weekly basis. And so now you're seeing how that week is laid out. So if you're an athlete, let's say you bench press 135 pounds, the next thing that you can do is now we can look at, okay, based off of all of this information, for us to get to, let's say I bench 135 pounds, for us to get to, let's just say 225, we can then look at this and say, all right, based off of all of the data, okay, that we've accumulated with all of the athletes, on average, it typically takes about 450 reps to get 10 pounds improvement on your bench press. Okay, so in this case, we're looking at 135 pounds. Okay, so for 135 pounds, for me to get to 145 pounds, I'm going to need about 450 reps. Okay, and if I'm doing 50 to 60 reps a week, and all we have to do is I'm going to take my calculator, on my trusty calculator on my cell phone, and I can say, okay, if I'm doing 60 reps per week, and I know that it takes me 450 reps to get 10 pounds, I'm going to divide 450 by 60. It's going to be about 7.5 weeks. Okay, and that's if we're going through for 7.5 weeks and we are executing every single lift. We aren't missing. We're trying to bench twice a week, and we're going back up here and we're looking at this and we're saying, okay, in this document, okay, I want to look at a split. I can see my upper body split 5x5, 6x5. Now we're looking at 30 reps. And then I could go down here. I could say, okay, on my hypertrophy day, I'm doing 30 more reps there. Well, now I got those reps that I need to get. Now, the next thing that we could do then is say, all right, what would that look like if I want to go from, let's say, 225 to 300 pounds? Okay, so I want to go, we did the 135 to 45. Let's do the 225. So 225 pounds. Let's just say we're trying to get to 235 pounds. Okay, so we're looking at 235 pounds. So in this range, we have seen to gain 10 pounds of weight on the bench. Okay, you want to put on 10 pounds. You gotta do 500 total reps to get 10 pounds. Now, some kids that are really athletic will go faster than this. Some kids that aren't as athletic and maybe they're smaller, they'll take a little bit longer. On average, we're going to see about 500 reps, which is going to take you about 9 weeks. It could be anywhere between 9 and 9.5 weeks. Okay, so now what's cool about this is then we can take this and we'll say, okay, for me to bench 235, I've got to commit for 7 to 8 weeks to 9 weeks of getting 50 plus reps a week. And now we have this blueprint that we lay out and we specifically build this plan. Okay, so now I can sit here and say, let's go. Let's say that I am currently benching 225. This is free. This tool is free. And the biggest thing that this is going to do is it's going to set expectations for you. The reason why you will probably complain about what this calculator tells you is because you really struggle to do work. You really struggle to stay committed for 5 years, for 6 years, for 7 years. And that's the big factor here. You want to have 3 plates on the bar, you got to be committed. You want to have 3 plates in a chip, you got to be really committed. You want to have 4 plates on the bar, you got to go till you're 22, 23, 24 years old. You want to have 5 plates in a chip on the bar, you got to go till you're 27, 28 years old, drug-free. Okay, so these are the things that we have done over the last 15 to 20 years. Now, if I'm looking at this calculator, this is the training progress calculator. It sets the expectation. So I'm going to put in here, We're going to make this in pounds. We're going to set bench press. So what's cool here, any bilateral movement, you got clean and jerk, you got back squat, you got deads, you got front squat, you got power clean, you got snatch. Okay, so we're going to hit bench press. So we're going to hit pounds. We're going to hit gender, male. We're going to hit, I got a 225 1 rep max. Okay, what's cool is I could go in here and I could say, like, let's say I do 205. That puts me right around 230. So if you see right here, like there's a little highlight here that you can add in. Like let's say I do 5 reps at 185 is probably gonna be similar, right? 225, right? So that's like the cool thing is you could put in your rep max here and then also go here. And this spits out that calculator. I could look at what it would be if 225, probably 275, 270. So you can play around with this quite a bit and you can add in. So some people will be like, well, what about Dane, I don't have my 1 rep max, but what about my 5 rep max? Well, if I have my 5 rep max, you will still get a projected out of this. Okay. So now what's my goal? My goal is 315. 315. That's what I want to bench. I want to bench those 3 plates. I want to do it. I want to hit that. That's a huge benchmark. That's actually what I would call a milestone. So a benchmark for us in our system is like you go up a level. This is the benchmark. You get here, you get 2 plates. You hit 2 plates. Now you become level 2. A milestone is like 315, 405, 450, 475, 500. Milestones are like something that everyone can appreciate. Everyone in the world can appreciate this milestone, right? So your 1 rep max goal is 315. You want to bench 315. How many days do you work out per week? Now, I want to be clear on this. It should say 4 days total. Total. Don't get confused and think that because you put in bench press, this is telling you that you bench 4 days a week. This is saying 4 days total, because the big factor here is that we look at the splits. And so if we go back and we look at how this split is set up, this split is going to be a 5 day a week, or no, this is a 4 day a week, and it would have lower, upper impulse hypertrophy. Okay, so that's more upper basically. So we're looking at a 4 day split here. Okay, so that's how this is set up. Now, real quick, guys. So I'm using our training progress calculator. Okay, so in our training progress calculator, it's actually the first link in the description. Okay, so I was saying during the video that you can click on the training progress calculator or you can get this goal roadmap. I want you to just click on the training progress calculator. And then when you click on the training progress calculator, you can actually click through this. And then when you put in your email, you will get the training goal roadmap. So the first link is a training progress calculator. We're going to use this for the entire video. And I'm going to show you exactly how to set up everything and all of those specific details. I just wanted to include that as a little aside that I was saying 2 different links. There's just going to be 1 link, and that's going to be the training progress calculator. The second link will actually be towards Peak Strength, which is our strength training app. Now let's get back to the video and get you to bench 315. 4 days total. Remember back to this piece right here is that we're looking at it and we're saying, okay, for every 500 reps, we're going to get 10 pounds. So if I get 10 pounds for every 500 reps, it's going to take me 9 weeks to do that. So how many times over, if I go 225 to 315 now, and I'm training 4 days a week, the result would come in and it shows me it should take me about a year and a half to get from 225 to 315. And what you can do is you can play around with specific rep schemes, and you can say, okay, if I do 8 triples, that's going to be 24 reps, and maybe I do like a drops out of 7. Well, now you're at 30. Okay, on day 3, well, I want to do, let's say 10 triples. I want to do clusters, something like that, 10 doubles, followed by 1 drop set, something similar to that. Well, now you have another, well, what if I want to do 7 sets of 7? You can do 7 sets of 7 on day 1, which would be of your bench session, which would be, 50 reps. And then on the back half of the week, you just do 5 sets of 5, which is 25. And now you're actually getting over that 60 reps per week. So the big factor here is that now we take this and we take a kid and we can go, all right, look, this is what we've done. This is the women, this is the men. and we look through this and we say, look, you want to become, a shot put champion, right? You want to become one of the best shot putters in the world. You want to become one of the best defensive linemen in the world. You want to become one of the best wrestlers in the world. Nick Gwizdowski bench pressed 375, and right now, and when Nick was a world bronze medalist, he benched 375, and right now you're benching 205. So for you to get to Gwiz's strength levels, it's going to take you, you look at it, and then it's probably going to take you about 3.5 years to get to that level. Well, now you have a realistic expectation with a long-term buy-in. So the big factor now would be if I go through this and we take a kid and we go, hey, you want to become one of the best wrestlers in the world, or you want to become one of the best football players in the world, and you want to go D1. Let's say you're a running back. So let's take someone like Nick Singleton, who trained with us from the time he was in 6th grade till college, or Brandon George, who plays for the Chiefs right now. Brandon, 6th grade, comes in and he says, you know what, I want to bench press, 360 by the time I'm done high school. But by the time he gets, where we're talking to him, he can get 135 for a set of 3. Okay, so now we can look at this and we can say let's say 350 is his goal. And he's training 4 days a week. And his estimated 1 rep max at the time is 155. And the big factor here is that when you have these two documents working together, so this document here is the first link in the description, and it's free. You can click on it. You can download it. This is the second link. This is going to be the main aspect. If you click the second link gives you access to everything. It gives you the first link. It gives you the second link. Now you have all that set up and it's free. You can go in here, okay, and you can look at this and you can say, all right, I want to bench 350, right? I'm in 6th grade. For me to get to that level, it's going to take me 3.5 years. And honestly, what you end up doing is you go, well, 3.5, 4 years. Well, okay, how often am I going to be taking a break for vacation? How often am I going to be taking a break for the season? I play football, I play basketball. Now that's some more weeks off, and that resets you. But what ends up happening is you have a very specific task. Every single week, you have to hit 50 to 60 reps on the bench. That's your task. Every single week. There's no questioning here. And then when you recognize that you take off or you're in season or something like that, you get set back, and that's okay. It will just delay when you're trying to get to that ultimate number. Okay. But the big take home here is that inside of the training progress calculator, you can go and you can set up absolutely every point of expectations that you could ever think through. I bench pressed 205. Let's say, 205 for 5. It's probably going to put me around 240, 250. My 1 rep max goal is 330. I train 4 days a week again. And for me to get there, it's going to take me 1.5 years. I'm at 250 right now. I got to get to 330. So when I click the training progress calculator download, it's in the description. When I click there, I click on the training progress calculator download. I come in, I see how the split is laid out. I look at the split for the week. I practice, I go through this, and I understand you have one task. And in this case, if you want to bench 350, you got to get 600 reps per week. So it's going to take you longer to make that progress. It will take you longer to achieve your goals. But now you know exactly what you have to do. You know that when you make progress, you have to get even more volume later on. And so you have to hold yourself accountable to these specific numbers if you want to achieve what you're claiming that you want to achieve. And that's the big factor here. You're claiming you want to bench 315, but do you really want to bench 500 reps a week or 500 reps for 10 pounds? Do you really want to do 50 to 60 reps a week? Do you really want to show up 3 to 5 days a week? Do you really want to hold yourself accountable to eat enough protein? Do you really want to hold yourself accountable to log all your stuff inside of your programming? That's exactly what we do for you as well inside of our strength training app, Peak Strength. everything that we are giving you to bench 315, to hit these reps, is based off of our on-site numbers. It's based off of all of the data, all of the research from our on-site numbers, from our athletes in peak strength. So you can fill out this training progress calculator. You can get all the numbers spit back to you. You can write down all of your specific goals that you want. You can then hold yourself accountable. You can then on a weekly basis set up the number of reps that you need to hit. And you can do this inside of Peak Strength. All you have to do is head over to peakstrength.app, the Google Play Store or the Apple iOS store. You can start using Peak Strength today. This download for the training progress calculator is absolutely free. You can use this in perpetuity. You can use the training progress calculator, and with the training progress calculator is the training goal roadmap. This is a training goal roadmap download available with the training progress calculator. So head over to the training progress calculator, start to play around with this, start to figure out where you are. This is individualized to you specifically. Start today. There is no better time than today when you want to start to work towards your goals. Now, if you guys like content like this, click on this card right here, because remember, freaks, if you want to become a champion, you've always got to cultivate your power. Peace.